Eye of the Storm. Today, this topic is called the right to violence. I'm going to call it that. That's what this is about. And basically, the premise, Don, is that, and yeah, welcome, Don, to the channel. This is your first time on the channel. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yep.
But
Yep. Pleasure.
the right to violence is something I've thought about that, like, I'm experienced with law, I'm close with law, I understand law a lot. And I understand that the law is the means through which you're supposed to get justice. Because law only
Right.
comes into play in your life when a wrong thing has been done to you, and then justice is the method by which that wrong is remedied, right?
Right.
So, for example, somebody stole your car, the person goes to jail, right? Or
Right.
that's in the criminal setting. So, or somebody refuses to pay your money, you can sue the person for
Right.
breach of contract. That's justice, right? And you can get damages and things like this. So that's just a basic explanation of the relationship between law and justice. But I find personally a lot of times that justice, what we understand as justice, is not sufficient to, well, at least what the law says justice is not sufficient to actually do real justice for what somebody has gone through, for the pain that someone has gone through, right? So
Right.
that brings us to this case of Cain Velasquez, because he has just been sentenced to 5 years and he has gotten credit for time served, so he's not going to stay too long in prison. But I saw this headline, and that's what made me want to discuss this. And it says the judge fights back tears as he sentences UFC champion Cain Velasquez to prison for shooting somebody. What do you think so far?
For shooting somebody.
So this is what happened.
Yeah. How is Ken shooting someone? What happened to his
Oh,
Yeah. Go on. I need context. That's
okay,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm
So
just
let me
being funny,
provide
but I need
context. So
context.
so he has a son, Cain Jr., I think, who is in a daycare, right? So he drops his son in his daycare, and then he finds out 3 years ago that a caregiver in the daycare had been molesting his son. And the story is that
I'm
the guy.
losing you. I'm losing you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. So he has a son around 4 years old, and the boy was in a daycare, and a daycare worker, a male, had been molesting the boy. And he found out that the guy had molested his son at least 100 times.
What?
Yes. So he finds out, gets into his car with a gun, and starts chasing the guy down. So I guess he kind of blocks him off, and then he brings out the gun and tries to shoot the guy to kill him. But the bullet missed the guy and hit the guy's stepfather. So he's arrested, and this is what he said. So he said, I know what I did. I know what I did was very dangerous to other people, not just people involved, but to innocent people. I understand what I did, and I'm willing to do everything to pay that back. Whatever the court feels is correct for what I have to do, I'm going to do it with my head up and still be me and not play the blame game. It was me that did that and reacted that way. Velasquez added that he has forgiven the Goulart family who ran the daycare where the alleged molestation happened. So, in the meantime, that guy is facing one felony charge of molesting a minor, and the trial is set to begin June 2nd. Even with that family, he says, and what they've done, I can't have hate like that for them. But because there are things that I have to move on to and give love to my kids and love to the people around. I've got to share with everybody, so I can't give hate to them at all. I wish them healing in the best way, whatever that is. I wish that for them. I understand that they have traumas as well. It's not right to spread it. I'm glad they themselves have stopped because they can't practice anymore as far as daycare. With my own time, I've forgiving them and everything else, and I know my kids are great. So yeah, what do you think?
Crazy.
So let's get to the judge, because that's actually is the judge's part I'm trying to.
So he sentenced to 5 years in jail.
Yeah. So he was denied bail. He was denied bail. So he stayed in prison for the entire period of the trial. So
But my thing is, yeah,
yeah,
like I jokingly said it earlier. I'm like, why is he chasing him with a gun?
yeah.
Came to the beating the shit and enjoyed beating the shit out of that guy
No,
instead of using a gun.
I agree. But in the moment, is he really thinking about how he's going to do the violence? Because other UFC fighters have spoken about it. People like Cormier, people like Sharp, they're like, oh, the way I'd have done it, I'd have done it in a way that nobody would know it was me that did it. And it's like, God forbid, that thing did not happen to Brendan Sharp. It did not happen to anybody other than Cain Velasquez. So whatever
Bro,
he has done in the
Bro,
second.
the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to cause him harm, right? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, of course.
And I personally, knowing the kind of person I am, I would have enjoyed, because if you shoot him once, he's dead once. I would have
Yes.
enjoyed beating the shit out of him, not even knocking him unconscious.
Yeah, but so this one.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I would have enjoyed that better. The type of human being I am, I would have
yeah.
enjoyed that better. It's supposed to just, that's because I'm giving him an easy way out. That's just me. That's how I function. That's
Yeah,
how I would
of
think.
course I understand, but that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
angry, but I still know that at the end of the day, bro, the thing is, I'm still angry, but my thinking is quite rational half the time, most of the time,
Yeah,
should I say.
yeah, sure.
In that space of time, I'm thinking the ultimate goal is to cause him harm. We both agree on that, right?
Yeah,
So, bro, you chase him down and you beat the shit out of him.
yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's funny how it's weird for me. This whole this is crazy because
Yeah.
on one hand I'm saying wow, for him to say he's forgiven them and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But on the other
Well,
hand,
you know, he said he forgave the family. He didn't say he forgave the guy.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the family. Yeah, exactly, because that's where the thing happened.
Yeah.
They made the whether obviously unknowingly made the environment conducive for that to happen.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Whether it be them not installing enough CCTV cameras or whatever it is, they made the atmosphere, the environment conducive for him to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me?
Of course, of course.
Yes. But secondly, if you're saying, well, I forgive him, because I'll
No, you can't say
when
that.
I finish with the guy, I'll
can't
go
use
after
that
them.
word.
That's
You can't use that word.
sorry?
I said
What word?
Cain should not use that word. He should not talk about forgiveness.
No, so don't tell me you forgive him on one hand, then on the other hand, you're telling me you weren't rational enough to think that, listen, bro,
Yeah.
let me beat this guy up and enjoy beating the shit out of him. And I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose you just
I've
shoot him.
noticed
You're
that
giving him the easy way out.
Yeah, I've noticed that thing about family members of victims. Like you see, like some white girl, she gets beaten, raped, drugged, murdered, and stabbed. I don't even know in what order. And then the first in the family comes and says, "Oh no, we don't want to spread any racial tensions. We forgive him."
Bro,
And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is your opportunity to right centuries of wrongs, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, we forgive him." Fuck you. You're not qualified to forgive anybody. Only God forgives people.
To each his own, but fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that shit. So let's just see this story so we can close very quickly.
Yeah.
So we have doing an 11-mile chase. The guy Cain Velasquez fired a hand.
11 miles.
Yes.
Come on, Cain. Come on. I'm even more disappointed now. Come on.
It's a long drive. I guess it's Latino.
No.
I guess it's Latino, so that's kind of his problem. So
Jesus
they're very impulsive, very emotional.
11 miles. You know how long you thinking time that is?
Yeah.
You're angry because I'm still trying to fuck you up, but I'm already thinking, okay, let me do it in a nice way where my family doesn't have to be without me for a few. Do you know what I mean? You start to think. So come on.
It's true. So it says fired a handgun multiple times at the truck carrying 3 people, including a man accused of molesting Velasquez's son. TalkSport calls it relative. So like these guys are being very, very stupid. They always try to downplay crime. You know what I mean? To protect the actual evil person. Because if you put son here, if you put that it's a son, immediately the reader of this article will understand exactly what Cain is going through. But they put relative, so to create distance between this guy and the actual victim here. It's a very unique trick. So, fired his handgun, he hit the driver in the arm and the right flank and severed his brachial artery. And as they drove past the school, which was letting out for the day. So the district attorney says one man's decision to take the law into his own hands left an innocent man wounded and endangered school children, teachers, and many others in our community. You see lawyers. This is when lawyers come in, right? So he says, if you want to do justice in Santa Clara County, please apply for a badge. Are you seeing what I'm talking about? So he says here, he took the law into his own hands.
But bro, we've had this conversation before. This is what I can't stand about you lawyers.
Yeah.
Knowing fully well, knowing full well that this guy is a murderer or he's killed somebody.
Yeah.
And you guys can stand there and defend him. That's what I don't get, but that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
so all of a sudden you're seeing it from my point of view now. Because you're saying
no, of course. Look at how he's like, oh, he's endangering school children, the teachers, and many others in our community. You get my point. And then he says, if you want to do justice in Santa Clara County, please apply for a badge.
Yeah, apply for a badge. So we all know what that means.
Yeah, the point I'm making is that there's a gap between law and justice. Look at what his recommendations are: apply for a badge. So go and be a police officer.
Yeah, of course.
Go and arrest him, then charge him to court, then wait for appeal, wait for judgment, wait for sentencing. Giving a guy free food for 15 years for molesting your child is not justice. People go on TikTok in prison. And
apart from giving free food, don't forget he's not going to be in general population, because they
will be protected. They protect chomos more than regular murderers.
Of course.
So it's crazy. So
of course.
He pleaded no
contest. Someone will be caught with 2 kilos and you throw him in with the wolves.
Yeah.
But you put come on, seriously, make it make sense. It's
Okay,
absolutely
so this
ridiculous.
is a further report. So it says that the judge, Arthur Bocanegra, while passing the sentence, choked up, noting that punishment comes in many ways, but one of the worst is forcing a father not to be present in his child's life. While also noting that Velasquez has no prior criminal record, he expressed remorse and took full responsibility for his actions. This is a tragic case. Mr. Velasquez is not a danger to public safety. This is the judge talking, right? So it seems like the judge, and the headline says the judge is fighting back
It
tears,
fights, yeah, fights back tears,
right?
yeah.
So this is a judge who is delivering
So
justice.
this man, that man didn't die, right?
The
Did the
man,
man lose his life?
no, he didn't lose his life, and the man is
Okay.
not the person against whom Velasquez has a
Of,
problem.
of course. He just missed and hit somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing that stood out to me is that this judge, you're a judge, right?
That's crazy.
You're an impartial arbiter. Somebody shot somebody. You're trying to
Yeah.
send the person to prison, and you're crying.
No,
Why?
no loss. Oh my goodness.
Do you get my point?
It's,
Why is the judge crying? The judge knows
yeah.
the difference between law, justice, and and due process. Why is he crying? Because he knows. The judge knows, despite his training. Let's call it brainwashing, because
Yes.
lawyers are brainwashed to think a certain way. Despite,
Wow.
yeah,
And you can't make all that conclusion.
mm,
You're obviously he's summarizing after obviously he's
yeah,
I don't know what you guys call it just before they give judgment. What's that?
yeah, like the verdict.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
You're doing all that. You're saying all these good things. You're saying for a fact you're not danger to society, to the
yeah,
public. Nobody lost their life. The most you can do is, bro. You say okay, well maybe you have anger issues or whatever. Do anger management for.
yeah,
But how can you get that man 5 years though?
yeah, yeah,
Regardless of everything we've talked about.
yeah. So no,
Forget
no.
about what mistake he
What the
made
five
by
years?
man.
The 5 years
I
is the
didn't.
minimum. The 5 years is the
Yeah.
absolute minimum for that charge.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh,
Yes,
okay,
yes, yes,
okay,
yes, yes.
okay,
He gave
okay.
him the absolute minimum
Oh, okay,
possible.
okay, fair
So
enough.
the judge
Yeah,
didn't even.
that's. Or he
Huh?
could have. Yeah, I still think he could have. Nobody lost their life for one.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So, and you can't say you believe he's not a danger to society and all these other
the
things.
judge. I understand.
Um,
The judge is making submissions from the bench. That's what we call it, where the judge is trying to give is trying to give evidence. And obviously you have all these people like many UFC fighters wrote to the judge to give character references.
yeah,
Dana White wrote. Everybody pulled in their support. Cormier, Nurmagomedov, Kamaru Usman. That helped, but it didn't help much because
they didn't help enough.
yeah. Because I mean, if I were the judge, I will find him guilty of like what's the word? Aggressive touching.
Mm.
That's what I'll call it because there are ways to charge people. As a lawyer and as a judge, there are ways to you can forgive somebody even if you find the person guilty of something. Let me just put it like that, just to shorten the conversation. But my point is that this guy is fighting back tears, meaning that despite the fact that the course of justice has been done, he knows the tears are coming out because he knows that there's something wrong with the verdict. There's something wrong with this man spending 5 years in prison or whatever the case may be, or
Yep,
being found guilty of something for his actions, meaning that the
yep.
judge knows that his actions are justified. That's why he's crying.
There's no other reason he's choking back tears. That's the only reason. He knows for a fact he most likely would have done the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So the law, and this is kind of like my conclusion, the law is not, the law hasn't done enough to acknowledge that gap between law and justice. And the gap between law and justice is violence. That's what I believe. I believe that every human being has the right to violence, and
Wow.
the law, our system, justice system, whatever you call it, legal system, justice system, law and justice don't mean the same thing, right? Because it's like the judge says, oh, the lawyer said he took the law into his own hands. If he wants to do justice, he has to join the police force. The police doesn't do justice. The police enforces the law. So you get the point.
Yeah,
So when you break down these
yeah.
sentences that people are saying, to a layman, the words have the same meaning, like law, justice, there's no difference. But to people like us who know that there's law, there's procedure, there's justice, and there's equity, there's all these kinds of things. Those things are intangible differences that law cannot bridge that gap. And generally, everybody has been pissed off before. If somebody is pissing you off, your first instinct is to do violence to that person. That is a natural instinct that everyone on this planet has. But of course, we've been socialized to refrain from violence. You know what I mean? Back then, you could discipline your wife, right? You could discipline your children. but like the state keeps taking these rights away from you. Oh, you can't hit your wife.
But that's another topic on its own.
No, I
My
know.
take is on this. I want to just try and throw something in, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
my conclusion from my end.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame though. First of all, let me get that out of the way. Because obviously all those people didn't just write character reference just to. I don't think he's a violent guy, but I just think he had more than enough time to calm his temper and found a better way, a more effective way even.
I agree.
You know, because bro, you can't drive for 11 miles and not be able to think, you know what, yeah, let me not shoot this guy, let me just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, that's a freeway, bro. 11 miles is a freeway. You can't do 11 miles in town.
But of course, I know exactly. Where else are you going to do 11 miles? You know, but the thing is, you have more than enough time
long
to.
Distance, bro.
Yeah. Yes, of course, and that's more than enough time for you to rethink your strategy. You know, so I'm disappointed that's the route he chose, and it's a shame how he's played out. But the judge still could have been lenient because at the end of the day, nobody lost their lives. So
what I do think is my solution. Here's my solution to the problem. Let's bridge the gap that law leaves to justice. And as I said already, that gap is violence.
Yeah, of course. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
No. But listen, it's already happening. You have the Olympics. You have MMA. You have all these combat sports. Why don't I challenge you to a fight, sir? In boxing, people die. Right? What's his name? What's your best friend's name? The boxer, the Russian guy that fought Rocky. If he dies, he dies, right?
No, if he dies, he dies. Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, exactly. So I talked about the ability to challenge somebody. I challenge you, sir.
Yeah.
That's dueling.
Of course, I see where you're coming from. Of course, I mean, it does MMA. It does MMA. Let's forget about boxing because that kind of thing is damn near no rules.
Yeah.
You know, anything goes type of combat. Yeah. That's how I would want it anyway. You know, so you can make. Why can't they incorporate it into the?
Yeah, exactly. You can incorporate it into the legal
constitution, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, so, that's exactly what I'm saying. So there will be, you will both agree, or the court will agree, or the person who is aggrieved will say, "I want to fight you in
20 days."
Yeah, no, 30 days. 30 days.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
MMA. These are the rules.
Style contest. Yeah.
The judges of the national body will be there, present, and you will have 30 minutes to fight. 10 rounds, you know, they will put the stipulations.
Yeah,
so you will have the time to take your time with this animal and do all the violence you want to do to him. You can break his arm, break his leg, break things.
I sanction it.
Sanctioned.
Yeah.
You can do pride rules. And done. This is not just a bastard who molests the family member of Cain Velasquez. This could be even his stupid fucking wife who won't do the fucking dishes. Let's have a fight. You have 30 days to prepare, 30 days to train. If you don't comply, we'll fight. And
you want to fight your wife for not doing the dishes, bro?
10,000%, bro. What the fuck are we saying? And of course, it's not the dishes. But no, I don't mean wife. It could be girlfriend. It could be some bitch that you fucked one time, and then she keeps calling your job. She keeps calling your job, trying to get you fired. You know what I mean? Or an ex-wife who is trying to take all your money. You know what I mean? Like, because there's no justice for you. So why don't we meet in the middle? Let's meet in the cage. Let's fight. Yeah. If you die, you die.
It's sanction a person. If he dies, he dies.
Simple. That is me, bro.
You know, whatever rules agreed, yes, let's go.
And let me tell you, you think it's not fair for a man to fight like some bitch or some ex-girlfriend? Okay, the Olympics, they have a man fighting women. Do they not?
Of course.
So, if it's possible for a strange man to fight another strange woman, then it should be more possible for a man to fight his ex-girlfriend. On that bombshell, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Like and subscribe. Follow Don. Don, you're on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Yeah. _ D.Brasco_10.
Fantastic.
You know? Yeah.
All right. Thank you
always,
so much.
Yeah. Been a blast. Yeah.
All right. So Don, you're cool. The hour is gone.
Yeah, no problem. Good. Nice discussions. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So the next one we'll do the Natasha, and then we'll go on to Didi. In between that, if you have any topics, just send them.
When are we looking to shoot next? Let's do one on Saturday. Saturday is good for me.
No problem. Then we should also meet up on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, like evening stuff. Shoot pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll record Saturday.
Friday's tomorrow.
Are you serious?
I'm very game for tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot Friday was tomorrow. Fuck me. Let's try. Let's try. I think
let me get out of the house. Yeah, Friday's good. Tomorrow.
Then hi. I want us to meet with Helen.
Okay.
because they served a defense. You know, I told you.
Okay. Yeah. That's true.
Defense.
Yeah.
So I'll call
Yeah.
her. You're in the office tomorrow, right?
I'm in office tomorrow. Yes.
Okay. So that means you may not be free. So
Mm.
don't worry. I'll talk to Helen because I need to
Okay.
see what they filed so that I'll make my
Okay.
notes and then we can discuss. So
Mm.
I'll push
All
her
right. That's
tomorrow to send it to me. Then maybe we
okay.
can
Sounds good.
find a time to discuss. I want all three of us to sit down and discuss strategy because
Okay.
I
Okay.
think your case is coming up this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right, bro. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right. Cool. I hope it's not clashing because I'm going to Lagos.
When?
Um,
Did she give you
I'm
the
going to
due date?
Lagos. Not yet. I don't think. I'm going
Message
to
her now.
Lagos from the. Huh?
Me-
I will. Okay.
Message her.
I'll do
Don't
that.
worry. I don't think it will be too painful
Yeah.
because
My family is coming in
oh
next week.
nice because
Yeah.
they've not.
After centuries of sleep, of nothingness, I have returned. Something comes back to me. I was great once. Feared. Yes. Once I was strong. Powerful beyond measure, beyond imagining. So weak now, must find blood.
The best guy at synthesizing this stuff, because he's just been hitting these things out of the park.